When you have the whole world come together for a single purpose, to celebrate humanity, I think this helps build peace in it. But we also know that sports is not going to solve all the world's problems. It's not going to solve wars, but it is a fantastic tool for healing.
Would you hope for a Middle East Olympics in 2036 and beyond individual nations? Is it something that could be spread out across the region?
I think that would have to depend on the individuals that are bidding. One of the challenges that we currently face with the existing calendar is that it's not an appropriate environment to have the Olympic Games. So one of the things that I'm suggesting as president of the IOC is to work with international federations to have a bit more flexibility.
Your brother, Prince Ali, has advocated banning Israel from world football. Is that something you believe should also be happening in the wider sports world, particularly the Olympic movement?
Look, I'm not for exclusion. I believe in inclusion. And right now, the only reason for anybody to be banned is in violation of the Olympic Charter. And although people have different opinions on it, as long as there is no violation of the Olympic Charter, then I have no reason to ban anybody. We have to respect the Olympic Charter. As a president, that's what I have to defend. And so
Russia has been suspended from the Olympic movement for incorporating Olympic associations in the annexed areas of Ukraine. Do you see a pathway for Russia to return to the Olympics?
I think the only real pathway is that it has to comply with the Olympic Charter. As long as it's fully compliant with the Olympic Charter, then there is no reason for them to be banned from any Olympic movement or from sports.
If you are elected president at the 2028 Olympics, you'll be working alongside Donald Trump. In recent days, he's talked about expanding US territory, maybe even taking Greenland. That is some of the rhetoric we've heard from Russia. Are you comfortable with that, and as someone you'll be dealing with around 2028?
I think Donald Trump is a leader. He's a president of the United States. He has said in his inaugural speech that he's looking as his legacy as being peace. And I believe that is somebody I can work with.
Are you okay with Donald Trump suggesting that Jordan should be taking in Gazans?
At the end of the day, it should be what the Palestinians people want, not what the rest of us. Should not be in a position to take decisions on behalf of other people. Our foreign minister had made a statement. It said Jordan is for Jordanians, Palestine is for Palestinians, and I think it's something that we respect. We, at the end of the day, have always talked about a two-state solution. We are against, forced movement or migration of any people from their territories, and it's something that we firmly believe in.
Is this ceasefire enough, do you think, to set the region on a path to peace? Is that achievable, everything your father achieved many years ago?
I hope so. I hope this is the start of a movement towards peace. In and of itself, it's not going to solve it. Peace is not created by stopping wars or having ceasefire. It's created by building hope, a sense of justice, a sense of fairness. These are all critical elements that need to be there in order for peace to really exist.
Afghanistan has been a country troubled by war. There are concerns the fact the Taliban have banned women's sport. Is it right for Afghanistan to be competing at an Olympics while they don't allow women's sport in the country?
Again, I think we have to go back to what the Olympic Charter does and does not allow. As long as they're compliant with the Olympic Charter, there's nothing that should prevent me from being able to allow. Now, we can have discussions with the leadership there to encourage them to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, it's their sovereignty, it's their right to choose.
Does it show there's problems with the Olympic Charter if you can compete in the Olympics while banning women's sport in your country and only having largely a men's team?
Look, at the end of the day, the Olympic Charter is what as an IOC president, I'm there to defend. Now, there's always the option, and when we look at consensus-based leadership, if the consensus is within the IOC to take action or to adopt or change the Olympic Charter, then that's something I'm willing to consider. But it's not for me as president to make that decision. It really is, because it's embedded in the Charter, it's up for the membership.
You do have a leading role, though, in terms of women's rights within the IOC as well, as vice chair of that committee.
No, it's something I would very much like to see, but at the end of the day, every country has its own sovereign rules and its own decisions. Like I said, I would encourage them to allow women to participate in life, because I think that is in part embedded in the very principles of Olympism. But I can't force people to change laws just because I believe it is wrong. It's up to them to understand that this is actually for their benefit.
Obviously, countries can be suspended for political interference, for conflict as well. I suppose it depends how far you wish to push it in terms of enshrining in the IOC statutes about the need for women's sport to exist within countries.
Like I said, I mean, I think to ban them on that principle alone would require potential change to the Olympic Charter. It's not something I've personally looked into, but I believe it would require a change in the Charter, and then it's up to the IOC members. If they agree and the consensus is there, then that's what they do.
One of the big issues in terms of women's sport is obviously gender eligibility. We saw it in Paris, and it has really divided the sports world. It's very complicated. Where do you sit? You've got Donald Trump, host of the 2028 Olympics, saying there should only be two genders, male or female. You've got some people in the sports world believing that transgender women should be banned from women's sport entirely. What is right for the Olympics?
Look, I think the IOC has put clear guidelines for the international federations. And I think what we need to look at is a scientific-based approach on eligibility, make sure that is both fair and safe for all the competitors involved in that federation and that sport. And I think the International Federation is in a far better position to make that determination than the IOC. I mean, could you imagine if the IOC started taking decisions on these issues, for instance, over FIFA? I mean, there would be an outroar for that. And so I think leaving it to the international federations, they are better placed. It is their sports. They understand it far better than the IOC. And I think they should be the ones to determine who the issue of eligibility based on scientific criteria.
The challenge facing so much of sport is engaging youth. How does the IOC maintain those young audiences?
We need to be relevant to them. We need to engage them. We need to make them feel that the Olympic values and the Olympic ideals is something that they want to live up to. And I think the challenge is how do we get to them on platforms that they like to use and show the relevance of international sport.
Which are those platforms?
You've got, whether you're looking at online streaming platforms, or, let's say for example, for Netflix, whether you're looking at YouTube, whether you're looking at Twitch. Each platform adapts to whoever it is that is their target audience.
As we close up, one of the issues that has perhaps divided some of the candidates is whether Olympians should get prize money for medals. Do you think that is the right way forward to reward them for their success?
I think when you look at the Olympic solidarity model, NOCs, a lot of NOCs around the world do provide, if you want to call it prize money or compensation for the athletes that have won medals. But then again, from their perspective, it's an opportunity in the Olympic Games to raise their national flag. So the NOCs have done that historically. I think there are better ways to look at how we can create real value for Olympic athletes in a way that truly values what they have participated, that goes beyond just the issue of prize money.